Hello everyone, welcome back to Ansarkari. So we are taking up next 40 questions from 2018 CSAT paper. So we are dealing with the second half of CSAT paper. So starting from question number 41, we see. So this is again few mathematical questions. So student has got 40% marks to pass in an examination, but he gets 30 marks and fails by 30 marks. So we can say that if you need 40% marks to pass and this information is given, so 60 marks would equal 40% of the total. We have to calculate the maximum marks. So if 40% is 60 marks, 100% would be 150. So option C.
Option C.
Then 19 boys turn out for playing hockey. Out of them, 11 they are wearing hockey shirts and 14 they are wearing hockey pants. So we need to calculate what is the number of boys wearing full uniform. So in this case, if we write it in this manner, so if 11 are wearing t-shirts, we'll subtract 19 minus 11 to get the number who are not wearing the t-shirts. So that is 8. And 14 are wearing pants. So the number wearing full uniform would be 14. The number who are wearing the pants, hockey pants, minus who are not wearing the t-shirts. So it would be 6. So this would be option C again.
Option C.
Okay, now we are given with this information. So A, B, C, D are students. We are given with cities, we're given with the colleges and the states which are there. So you can plot this information. So on the basis of this entire information which is given, we get this as the final output. So question 43 is A is studying in which state? So it has to be Gujarat. Option B.
Option B.
Then 44th question. Science College is located in city Q. You can see this science, it is in city Q.
Option A.
Then C is studying in Rajasthan. And then 46 is also, which one of the following statements is correct? So D is not studying in city S because it is studying in another city. City S is for C. And then 47, which one of the following statements is correct regarding engineering college? So D is studying in engineering. You can see we are able to decipher this information as well. And lastly, 48th question. So which of them is correct? So engineering college is located in Assam. You can see we have this information as well. So you can verify from 44 to 48, Divya, once.
All correct ones. 44, 48.
Okay, then passage. So which can be the assumptions? So one is stating climate change is not a challenge for developed countries. This is not possible. If you read these two statements, this is valid according to me and the passage. So 2 and 3 should be the valid assumptions.
Option C.
Okay, then question number 50. So most crucial and logical inference that can be drawn from the passage is that access to cooking gas can reduce premature deaths in poor households.
Option D.
Passage number 3 in question 51. So most important implication should be that a happy world is not possible without science.
Option A. 51.
Option A happy world is a dream of science. ठीक है. Passage 4. So most important implication the passage again, so melting of summer ice in the Arctic leads to changes in geopolitics.
Option B.
Then we have one more passage. So most crucial message. So for India, food security collides with trade.
Option C.
Okay, then we have to identify the valid assumptions. So only 2 should be correct. Today's learners, they need to acquire new age skill sets.
Option B.
Fine. We have passage 7. So here, again, the inference and the rational inference that can be drawn should be that there is no perfect diet or one solution to deal with obesity.
Option D.
Okay, then again, crucial message from the passage. So Asia and North America will be worse sufferers from climate change and the consequent shortage of food. Option D.
Option A. 56. Option A.
A, preserving crop genetic diversity is an insurance against the effects of climate change. Okay, but directly the passage is not talking about the crop genetic diversity, although it is talking about monoculture. But since the information is given on the risk associated with the continent of North America and Asia, so that is why I chose option D. Then 57th question number, a shopkeeper sells an article at 40 rupees. So we have written down. Then X percentage profit is made if selling price is rupees 40. And when he is selling the same product at selling price of rupees 20, he faces same X percentage of loss now. So we have to calculate the original cost of article. So both the things you can see, this is the formula for profit percentage and the loss percentage. So need to ensure both includes CP, the cost price which is there. So since percentage X percentage of profit and X percentage of loss are being made, so we will equate these two equations and solve it. So when you solve it further, you will get the cost price as 30 rupees, which is to be calculated.
Option C.
Then there are 24 equally spaced points lying on a circumference of a circle. What is the maximum number of equilateral triangles that can be drawn by taking sets of 3 points at the vertices? Because again, we require 3 points to draw a triangle. So you can see 24 points. If there are 24 again and they're equally spaced, so you divide them into 4 quadrants which are there. 24 divided by 4 will get 6 points on each part, which we have divided into 4. So since one complete angle would be 360 degrees, so we divide 360 with 24 because total 24 points. So we get each point, for example, what we are trying to get is the angle. This angle would be 15 degree, which would be made by 2 points joined together in a way. And now for equilateral triangle, the angle is 120 degrees in total. So number of triangle has to be calculated. So 120 degrees would be divided by 15 degrees. So we'll get 8 triangles, which should be option number C.
C.
Then we are given with this sequence, we have to identify what is going to be the next. So these are dates you can see, and there is a gap of 28 days between each one of them. So the next date after this would be 25/3/1996.
Option B.
Okay, now 12 equal squares are there and they are placed to fit in a rectangle with diagonal 5 centimeters. So this is drawn. There are 3 rows containing 4 squares each. So that's how it will be divided. No gaps are left between the adjacent squares. So what is the area of each square which are placed? Since there are 12 squares, so we need to get firstly the value of the each side. So each side is equal. So A is the symbol for that. So we need to get the value of A with all this information that is given to us. Now, which is length, and then square root of D square is the length of the diagonal minus the length square. So area of rectangle would also be area of all these 12 squares because they are placed within this rectangle. So we are multiplying 12 and area of square is A square. But now you can see that here we have length, we have the value of diagonal. So in terms of length, we can write L by 3 because you can see that one side of square would be this. So this is the length. So we divided by L by 3 as the one side of the square. And since it has to be square, so that's how we can simplify it. Now you can solve it for the length and we'll get length to be 3 centimeter. From this again, we get the total value of the area would be 12. And from this, we can derive the value of breadth. So length into breadth we have, and we get the value of these small parts which are divided. So it should be 1 and square of the area of square would be 1 square centimeter, 1 centimeter square. So option C should be the answer.
C. Option C.
Then we have many graphs in 2018 paper. So we have to identify which is not correct in terms of whatever we can say the outcomes or the result are stated in the option. So in case of D, this is the again the most inappropriate or it is incorrect. You just have to go through all the options and ensure that what it is saying, whether that is true on the basis of this graph or not. So D should be incorrect.
Option D.
Now we are given that for a sports meet, winners stand comprising 3 wooden blocks are there and 6 different colors are available to choose from, and each of the 3 wooden blocks is to be painted such that no two of them has the same color. So this is to be kept in mind. So there are how many ways that the winners stand they can be painted. So total 6 colors. So we have 6 options to paint for this block. Now the colors cannot repeat. So we are left with 5 colors and then 4 colors. So we have to multiply and we'll get 120 ways.
Option A.
For 63. So again, on the base of the graph, what can be inferred from this time period, 1990 to 2010? So population growth rate has increased, we can say, because you can see death rate is declining more sharply compared to the birth rate. So population growth rate would increase.
Option D.
63.
Option D. How?
D, population growth rate shows no trend. बट ट्रेंड तो ठीक है, चलो अब सर्टेनिटी के साथ तो नहीं बोल सकते, बट 1990 से 2010 इट इज आस्किंग, सो मतलब फ्रॉम दिस टाइम पीरियड. सो मेरे हिसाब से तो यही होना चाहिए था कि डेथ रेट में ज्यादा डिक्लाइन आ रहा है कंपेयर टू बर्थ रेट. तो इफ दैट इज डिक्लाइनिंग मोर तो पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट इंक्रीज होना चाहिए. ऑलराइट, ठीक है. बट now 64 with reference to again the same graph that we have. So considering 1970 is the base year, most rational statement में से कौन सा हो सकता है? तो only 2 and 4 होना चाहिए.
Option D.
Then again we have these two graphs and they represent average hourly earnings per year of the workers in two firms, firm A and B. So if you see the values here, it is starting from 20, here also from 20, and the gap in the values here is same 14, 15, 16, and even here 20, 25, 30 and 35. So gap of 5. So you can see 20, this would be 25, 30. So these are exactly the same. So slope of the graph becomes same.
Option C.
We have to identify what is going to be the next hair diagram on the basis of the pattern that is being followed. So you can see there is circle, then square, and then triangle. Again, this is repeated. So square, then after square we have triangle here. So triangle and then circle is there. So the triangle, circle, and now square should be the next. So you can see this is the most valid option.
Option A.
Okay, then again we have a graph. So the manufacturing cost and projected sales for a product they are given, and it is asking what is the minimum number of pieces that should be sold to avoid loss. So it should be 2000 should be sold. That should be minimum, because if it is selling 1000 it will incur losses, because you can see if you multiply 1000 with 400 and here 1000 with 6, that is the cost. So 6 lakhs is the total cost. If it is making 4 lakhs of revenue only, it is in 2 lakhs of losses. So it should sell at least 2000 pieces.
Option A.
Then 68, a lift has capacity of 18 adults or 30 children. It means it can carry either only 18 adults at a time or 30 children at a time. So how many children can board the lift with if 12 adults are traveling? So in this case, you just have to ensure what is going to be the conversion rate. So 18 adults if equal to 30 children, which is the total capacity that can be carried by the lift. So unitary method, 1 adult will equal to 5 by 3 children. We have to calculate for 6 adults because 12 adults are already traveling and total capacity in terms of adults that can be carried is 18. So gap of 6 is there. So 6 adults will equal to 5 by 3 multiplied by 6 and we'll get 10 children. So 10 children can travel.
Option B.
69, again person buys a refrigerator worth rupees 22,800 and 12.5% the interest rate, which is compounded. So it is compound interest rate. And at the end of the first year, he paid this much. At the end of second is this much. We have to get what is to be paid or what is the debt amount after third year. So here what we have to do, we have to follow that proper sequence in calculation the compound interest rate. So we'll first at the first year total debt has to be paid is 25,650. So 12.5% of the cost price will get us 2,850. Add this into 22,800, so we'll get this value. So if it is the person is paying 8,650, so how much is left out of this? So we'll subtract, we'll be left with 17,000. Now compound interest rate, so it would be charged on 17,000. So we'll calculate now 12.5% of 17,000. It would be this. Total debt would be now this much, 17,000 plus this value. Now, after the second year, the person is paying this much. So it is left with 10,000. So 12.5% of 12,000 will be 1,250. So we'll get 11,250 that has to be paid after third year.
Option D.
Again, we have to identify the sequence and the patterns. It should be option B.
Option B.
Then we have graph again. So most rational inference. So it should be option B. 2 and 3 are right.
71. Option C.
Option C. 1 is right. Over the last 2.5 decades, the dependency ratio for country B has decreased. Last 2.5 decades. So since this is 2018 paper, so we have to see from 1995 somewhere. So it should be this time period. 1995 to up till here, you can say. So in country B, it is saying dependency ratio is decreased. So this should decline. But it is increasing. Or we can say it has decreased. Less than 15, and then this is also increasing. All right, but that's what the answer key says. 72, Lakshmi, her brother, her daughter, her son, they are badminton players, and a game of doubles is to be, they're going to play. So we're given with this, we have to place them. So if this is the net, we have to get to who is the best player amongst four of them. So it should be Lakshmi's brother.
Option A.
Then 73, again, graph. This is from economy. So most likely reason for the central bank for such an action. So firstly, you have to decipher what action has been taken by RBI. So you can see repo rate has been increased. So if you relate to the real life, even after the COVID-19 time period, you've seen repo rates have been increased. So that is the anti-inflationary stance.
Option D.
We have this table now, most logical and rational inference. So all these questions are data interpretation related. So to select the correct one, so it should be 1 and 3 are right.
Option C.
Now 75. So again, on the basis of same table, to identify the right one, the most valid assumption, it should be only one.
Option D. 75.
D, ठीक है. I was also thinking, but again I went. Nowadays, prosperity for an high perform cannot be sustained. So इसलिए it should be wrong. Then again, a graph, the most rational inference that can be made should be both are correct.
Option A.
76A.
हाँ.
ठीक है. So 2 is wrong. Means the trend in the revenue from the excess duty demonstrates that the growth of manufacturing sector has been negative during the given period. So excess duty, if we see excess duty is this solid line. So it is declining. So we can say कि negative हो सकता है. Because excise में से जो revenue है that is fallen. ये भी तो यही बोल रहा है negative growth manufacturing sector. बट ठीक है, वी कैन से कि अब ये सोल क्राइटेरिया नहीं होगा, तो ऑन दैट बेसिस वी कांट से कि द ग्रोथ रेट हैज बीन नेगेटिव. ऑलराइट, देन 77. सो इफ x माइनस वाई इज इक्वल टू 8, इसमें से कौन सा स्टेटमेंट ट्रू हो सकता है? सो नीदर कैन बी ट्रू.
ऑप्शन बी.
बी की डी?
डी.
डी, ठीक है. Okay, then passage. 78th question, most rash and crucial message. So B होना चाहिए, meat producing industry violates the laws against cruelty to animals.
78 option D.
I was also thinking इन दो में confusion था, but all right, ठीक है, क्योंकि industrial की बात हो रही है. Passage 2, so rash and crucial message should be option B.
79 option B.
Then 80th का assumption it is asking, so it should be only one.
Option A.
All right, so we are done with all the questions from 2018, and from next Sunday we'll be taking up the complete paper of 2019, so you can solve and we can discuss the answers and get the doubts resolved. So thank you so much for joining us on Ansarkari.